Good day to everyone. In this video, we shall see about some of the important types of architecture. First, we'll see the monolithic architecture. Monolithic architecture, it is a traditional approach for designing and building a software applications. In this architecture, the entire application it is developed and released or deployed as a single unit. All the components in this, including the user interface on the business logic layer and the data layer, they are integrated and packed together. In monolithic architecture, the entire application it resides in a single code base, and all the components they are interconnected and dependent on each other. Suppose if there is any problem in one of the database, that is in one of the layer, then the whole application it will be failed. Then the application it is released as a single unit, and if there is any changes or updates that is required, then the redeploying the entire application is required. That is, we should release the entire application. And since all the components they are closely interrelated, and it will make it difficult to isolate or modify the individual parts, it will be difficult to make the changes without affecting the whole system. This monolithic application it uses a single centralized database for data management. Next is microservice architecture. In order to overcome the drawbacks of monolithic architecture, they came up with the microservice architecture. Microservice architecture it is an approach for designing the software application as a collection of loosely coupled or independently deployable services. That means for each feature, they started developing a separate microservice. Through this, there was no dependency between the features. Here, the application it was breakdown into small units, and it was connected through the APIs. Each service in a microservice architecture it corresponds to a specific business function, and it can be developed and released and scaled independently of the others. The best example for microservice architecture is any of the application which we download from the Play Store. You might have observed that we will be getting the updates. Now what will be those updates? In those updates, they will be making some corrections and they will be releasing it. Here they will not be reinstalling the whole application. We will only be updating the application. Here only the changes whatever they have done, it will be updated in the existing application. Next we shall see what is the client and server. Client means it is a system where we can access the information from the server. Client will be having the limited storage capacity. It is a computer where we can access the data from the server. A client system it will use the remote services from the server system. Next is server. Server it is a kind of a system wherein it contains all the information and it will give the information to the clients, like as we ask any information it will provide us. For example, Google, when we go and search any of the information any of the keyword which we want, then it will provide us the information. So Google is a server. We are the client for searching. So we can tell that client is a kind of a host computer that will store the data and process the data. The server system it will provide the services to the other system that are in its network. Next we shall see what do you mean by web server. Web server it is a kind of a computer that runs on our websites. The basic objective of the web server is to store, process and deliver the web pages to the users. Web server it uses the HTTP protocol for intercommunication. This web server it is like a waiter in a restaurant. When you want something, you will tell the waiter and then he will bring it to you. Similarly, when you want to see any web page in your device, like your phone or your computer, it asks for the web server for it, and the web server it sends it back to you. Your web browser like Chrome, Firefox, it sends a request to the web server when you type in a web address or click on any link. The web server, it finds the web page or resource you asked for and it sends it back to you in the browser. This can include any text or images or videos and many more. This web server, it keeps track of all the files and pages of the on the websites and making sure that everything is organized and easy to access. The web server, it also makes sure that the data it sends and receives is secured, especially when you are dealing with sensitive information like passwords or credit card numbers and like this. Now let us see how a web server works. When you open any browser and type in any URL, your browser it sends a message to the web server asking for the homepage of that website. The web server it gets your message, finds the homepage file on its system and prepares it to send it back to you. The web server it sends the homepage file back to your browser. Your browser it receives the file and displays the homepage on your screen. Now what is this HTTP protocol? HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It is a kind of a web application layer protocol. It works on the client and server model. Using this protocol, we can access the web pages as well as the data of the web pages. Now, what is web services? The services which are available over the web, we call it as web services. It will enable the communication between the application over the web. It will provide the standard HTTP protocol format for its communication. It will provide the platforms for APIs to interact with each other. These web services, they are like messengers that allow the different software applications to interact with each other over the internet. They help with different program exchange information and perform tasks, even if they are built using the different technologies. These web services, they can work with different types of software no matter what the programming language they are built in. They use the common internet protocol like HTTP to send and receive the data, which makes them easy to access. The information it is usually exchanged in formats like XML or JSON, that is, which are easy for both humans and computers to understand. Now, why do we use these web services? We use these web services in order to provide the platform for independent communication using these web services, where the two applications they will interact with each other and exchange the data or information over the web. Now let us see what is the difference between the API and web services. These both API and web services, they enable the communication between the different software application, but they are not the same thing. In API, it is a set of rules and definition that allows the different software application to communicate with each other. It defines how requests and responses it should be formatted and handled. But in the web service, it's a type of a API that operates over the internet using the standard web protocol. It specifically uses the HTTP or HTTPS to allow the applications to communicate with each other. All the APIs, they will be developed, tested, and then they will be pushed to the cloud. So all the web services that are available over the internet, they are the APIs only. When we push these APIs from the local environment to the internet, it becomes the web services. So we can say that all the web services, they are APIs, but all the APIs, they are not web services. Next is the web service. It requires internet or network for its operation, whereas the APIs, it would not require networks for its operation. Web service, they might not perform all the application related tasks sometimes, but APIs, they will be able to perform all such kind of tasks. Thank you for watching our video. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button so that you do not miss any of our updates or videos. Thank you.